Today is Friday, October the 20th, 2023. Welcome to episode 66 of Reliance with Canny Couple. I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
We're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day on being more self-sufficient, more reliant on ourselves. That includes reducing our dependencies for food, for electricity, and also with our finances becoming debt-free, which our goal is to be debt-free by
end of December.
And we are on track. We actually looked at the numbers. We've been looking at them every week, which is very important.
Our strategy is, do we pay an extra $100? Do we lose an extra $100? Do we gain a little interest? Do we lose a little interest? That type of thing.
We have this fantastic snowball calculator that helps us figure out those numbers, and we've used it for every debt we've ever had. And talking about financial independence, today we want to talk about something that's important. It's very important to us, and has as we've grown in our frugality and really grown and trying to make the most out of every dollar we spend, which is to make the most out of every single thing you buy.
Right.
So why is this so important?
Well, from a frugality standpoint, you might think cheaper is always better.
Well, not frugality.
Well,
depends on where you look. If you're right now, the way the economy is going, and how we are seeing people making $100,000 can't make ends meet. We know that things are happening. We don't know what those things are. We are not financial advisors at all. But inflation's higher, rent is higher. The grocery is higher. Cost to buy a home is higher. If you have to buy something,
you want to make the most out of it. You want to make
the most out of it. You want to get every dollar that you can, which is why this is so important today, because I don't think it's going to get any easier next year.
It doesn't look like it. It appears that it might get worse even.
It's what it's looking towards, which is one of the reasons we're pushing so hard to get debt free.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the big pushes. It's not the only push. It's right there at it. It's like right there with our really big push to get debt free. So the very first thing I'm going to say is anything that you buy, try to make sure it's not a one and done or one use item, if you can.
Right. Think of it this way. A good example we got is we used to use the coffee filters. Mm-hmm. Okay,
That's actually a great example.
What was it? $3 for that big pack we used.
That was when they were cheap.
That's when it was cheaper.
And that was if you got the bleached ones. We started moving to the brown ones that were unbleached. You didn't get as many.
And it was more expensive.
And they were more expensive.
So we invested in a stainless steel, basically, holder that you would put that in that we could reuse for years upon years.
This thing's been fantastic.
Right. And from that perspective, we don't have we could have composted the unbleached ones, but we don't have as much that type of waste either, and we're able to in the long run come out ahead.
And I understand there's some items that you're going to have that are one-use items. I'm not going to be the person that says that some of my kitchen gadgets aren't one-use items. But let me tell you something. I will find another way to use it.
Yeah.
And a great example is my tomato corer. I don't think I got the tomato corer to actually be a tomato corer.
She forgot the reason she got it.
I think I got it actually to help me core out squash. Thing is amazing to core out squash. Yeah. He was watching me. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I just cored out squash. I have a melon baller. I don't use it for melons. I use it to core out squash. If my core is not available, I'll use the melon baller because it's easier than a spoon. So I try to find innovative and new ways to do it. A salad spinner, great example of a one-use item that we use in so many different ways. I use it for all of our fruit, all of our vegetables that are small like that. Before we stick them in the freezer, they get a rinse off in the salad spinner.
Yeah.
And when I first saw that, I was like, how did I not think of this? I've taken this item that we used once a week, and now I'm using it every other day, certain parts of the year.
That's a really good example of one.
Great one. And this is not just small purchases. You need to think for big purchases as well. Can you make the most of it? Now, I know on a homestead, this can be harder. But don't buy a trailer for one use. You better have multiple uses for that trailer before you go and get it.
This sort of goes back to our episode of wants versus needs. Is the trailer a want or is it a need?
Right. So you really have to think about it. Like, we want a UTV. We don't need it yet. We're going to need it in the future.
Yeah.
We don't need it yet. So we're not focusing on that right now. We're focused on getting debt free. But we're planning for a future need. And we know we can use it in multiple ways on our homestead. It's not just going to be used to drive up and down the road, which is what it feels like most people in UTVs do around here. They're more like a joyride versus what they're actually used for. We are using it to get around our homestead, to help manage our homestead and make us more efficient with our time.
And move heavier items without me pulling or carrying them up the hill.
Wood, rocks if we need them, leaves, anything that we need to take off the top of the mountain, down a little bit further. This is going to help change our life. And that's why we looked at those things. There are other options out there, but this is the one that made the most sense for us. Now, if you do have to get a single-use item, is there an alternative that's going to do the same thing, but also give you more bang for your buck? So this is where you have to get creative and think outside the box. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. We, I don't know if you remember this, 2 years ago, we got that leaf mulcher. Oh, that was so terrible.
That was a waste.
It was so bad.
That was one of those things I wanted to do like a video on and say, don't buy this.
It was so bad. It would not pick up our leaves. So if you don't live in a heavily wooded area, this thing is probably wonderful. You live in a heavily wooded area, this thing doesn't do anything. It doesn't even really blow very good.
Right. Yeah. We got it for the purpose of, we were trying to create mulch faster. And it was supposed to suck up like a vacuum cleaner and mulch through it.
It wasn't strong enough for our area.
It was too weak of a product.
But we did get a product that is absolutely wonderful, and that is our the weed eater Aaron picked out. It's a weed eater, and it has a base on it. And this is one of those items. We needed something that we could get around our trees and not hurt the trees. You wanted to create like a buffer area. It's the reason why Aaron got this, and he loves it with the base.
Yeah.
But it pops out, and you can use it as a weed eater. And for me, it's like the right weight, and I can weed eat everything with it. And I can get it. It's just a great multi-use product. You can use it like a lawnmower, or you can use it like weed eater.
Yeah, and there's only like 2 companies out there that make it. I think Hart and is that Black & Decker, right? Yeah. So it's not like it's a easily made by like Milwaukee, DeWalt, or any of those. This one is, some of your lower ones.
But it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic in it. You can use it in 2 or 3 different ways. It's not a single-use item, and I have used that thing like no other. I've really learned how to use that thing very well because it's very lightweight for me. Now, this is not to say you're not going to have to buy single-use items, especially if you're homesteading. This is where, like, we know we have a big item coming up, and it's a single-use item. It's our wood splitter. We need a wood splitter. We know this.
We do. And, I mean, for a wood splitter, there's not really much else that you can use that for, besides splitting wood.
Yep. It's one use. We plan on getting 2. We're going to get a small hydraulic one. That is our backup. Doesn't require battery. Doesn't require anything but human power. Or if we need to carry it somewhere, we can take it with us. We have found those for a reasonable price. Really good price, actually. Yeah. And then we're going to get one that's actually battery powered instead of gas. We decided battery power made better sense for us because we'll have a solar setup.
And we just charge them off that.
Yes. Probably we'll invest in another set of batteries.
Yes, that one will at least need one more
at least.
battery.
But this is going to be game changer for us. Instead of Aaron having to be out there splitting wood or me trying to split wood, which was a worry. I was going to do it, and I would do it, and I'd get it done. You can ask Aaron. If I say I'm going to do something, I will do it and get it done. But it would not have been an efficient use of my time.
No.
We need me somewhere else. And this is going to take our wood splitting to like 3, maybe 4 days, as quick as this thing was going, depending on when we get it. I mean, it's going to shave so much time off our schedule. So we understand you have to have single-use items. But if you do, and they're that big, you better be saving for them.
Do not, go out and bust the budget or go into debt over something like that. Save up for it over time.
You can still use an axe if you can. Yep. I know a lot of people can't. You can use an axe if you have to. They have smaller ones that are like wedges. I was looking at those for me. You can get the wedge and a hammer.
Yep.
I mean, it's probably safer than an axe in some cases. It just depends on how accident prone you are. Yeah. I would have used the wedge and the hammer. I would not have used the axe myself.
I wouldn't have given her an axe.
You don't give me an axe. I'm very accident prone. This kind of leads us to the next one. We talked about saving up for it. So you're going to plan your bigger purchases around sale days.
Yes. So, like appliances, Memorial Day, Labor Day, those type of sales, try to get by with what you've got or do without on certain items until those big sale days come up, because you're going to save anywhere, from $100 to $500 sometimes on stuff like that. Yeah.
We saved a lot of money getting all of ours. They couldn't deliver them. I mean, we had months wait for delivery, but we were actually supposed to be done with the remodel by the time they were delivered. That didn't happen, but it was okay. We went ahead and ordered ours on sale day, and I'm glad we did. But we had also researched what we wanted. We went to the store, we looked, because I didn't think I was going to go with a side-by-side refrigerator and freezer. We've always had the ones up top. Yeah. Like, that's how old school we are.
Yeah.
We've never had anything that's not been the freezer's on top, the refrigerator's on bottom.
Yep.
But I love our fridge and freezer now.
Yeah, and from the freeze dryer standpoint,
we measured it.
We measured to make sure the trays would fit in the freezer.
We did. We made sure the trays would fit in the freezer, and it's quite a bit bigger than what we had before. But it doesn't take up as much space as I thought it would when we first saw it, and we worried about it in the kitchen. We really planned these out. We planned the dishwasher. The only thing we did not get was the washing machine.
And because we didn't know what size at that point. So we did have to get that one on a non-sale.
No, we did get it on sale. There was a sale right then because we had to hurry up.
That was President's Day, wasn't it?
We got it for President's Day because we had to hurry up and figure out what we wanted.
Yeah, look around, holidays are the weird holidays, because they might have a sale like that.
For anything like that, like if your washing machine's about to die, you need to start looking now, because you need to figure out, what do I want? Do I want top loader? Do I want a front loader? Well, we already knew we wanted a front loader, not another top loader. So we kind of that narrowed down. Then we had to narrow down by size and went from there to determine what was the best option for us.
Yeah, and at the same time, when you're looking at this type of stuff, look to see what type of rebates are available.
This is our next point.
I mean, don't discount rebates. I mean, a lot of times they're a hassle. Sometimes you might not get them. But, if you do, that's another savings that you can get. You can also look from a tax rebate perspective. Yes. A lot of states are running Energy Star efficiency rebates, and on your income taxes, federal income taxes as well. So there's you can get some rebates on certain solar things at the moment, for example. But besides that, sometimes like power companies, your power companies will have rebates that you can go through them, or you never know that your city or county might even have something. Don't go out there and look and see what you can find. Most of the time it's a generic type of rebate too. You know, okay, if you buy an Energy Star dehumidifier, it doesn't have to specifically be a like a Maytag dehumidifier. I don't even know. I just threw out a name. You know.
That was actually something Aaron's really good at. He kind of searches those out. But we did get a good rebate back on our water heater. We knew because we went with it. We didn't just go with it because it was Energy Star. We went with it because of what it was, and it was the best option for us. So that was the first thing we looked at. We didn't just like, what will give us a rebate. You need to make sure it's going to work for you and do the job you need it to do. Again, we got something that worked in multiple ways. It can run on an eco mode. It can run on all these different modes. So we tried to not focus on, okay, it can only run this way.
Right. It can work just like a regular water heater off, you know, electricity, but we run it the heat pump eco mode most of the time, which, you know, gives drastically reduced our water heater.
I mean, it's worked out really well for us. So right. Aaron's done a really good job checking those out, finding those things for us, looking them up. We had to get a new dehumidifier for downstairs because our old one, while it works, does great. We're never throwing that thing away.
It was pulling the energy like crazy. Like, we didn't realize how much it was pulling.
Big time.
Until I was like, whoa, what was running that day? And then... Yeah, it was the dehumidifier.
And if we need it, we have it. Like, if we have a big water leak, we'll hook them both up. No question. It is what it is at that point. But we need to run a dehumidifier on a regular basis in the basement, especially in the summertime. Mm-hmm. That little one does a really good job. It really does. And it doesn't use near as much energy. And talks about the next thing here. When you're looking at things, especially things that are using electricity, more complicated, look at the cost to actually run them and maintain them.
Right. I mean, this is something you've got to consider, you know. Oh, this thing here, I can get it $50 cheaper, but over a year, it might cost $100 more to run than the other one.
Or you might have to replace filters or anything else. So, like, you look at vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
Mops now, like the vacuum mops. You have to replace those heads. So, we paid a little bit more to get one that cleaned itself. Mm-hmm. The head cleans itself. So, I'm going to have to replace the head, but probably not near as often as one of these where the head doesn't have, like, a self-cleaning mode. And, buddy, it will clean. It did an amazing job. Yeah. So you need to look at those things, and definitely from the cost perspective, this is where when we need something, I don't discount it if it's going to be expensive to run, but I put Aaron on the hunt.
Yeah.
I really do, because I understand it, but not well enough to look and understand what they're saying. I understand it when he tells me because he knows how to tell me.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, this thing uses, look at me, what's this thing's using, you know, for example. Or, look at this. What's this weird thing that we have to change every so often, you know, so that type of thing. So, don't always discount, you know, that something a little bit more expensive might be cheaper in short time period or long time period.
It's things you want to take into consideration. And not only that, how much time is it going to take for you to maintain? Do you have to clean it often? Do you have to take care of it? Is it going to take time away from your side hustle, your work, your business? Right. Time is money. Yep. It is. It absolutely is in this day and age. We see this every single day because we are pushing and working so hard on all of these projects that our time is precious to us. It really is. So we see this every day, and time is money, and you should never, ever discount the fact that your time is worth something.
Totally agree.
So, name brand. And this is where we might get some controversy here, because there are things that there are diehard people out there like, I won't use anything but this. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to use anything but this. We aren't those people.
No.
Not at all. Well, it depends on what it is.
No.
Okay, so if I get the chocolate in the big old bark, you're going to be out there cutting it?
You can get other brands that have it where it's in the block format. Okay, it's not just one brand on that.
Well, I think I could probably take the mallet to it this year and get the cheaper brand.
You are the one that will be doing that.
So, the story is, when we first got together, I made Aaron peanut butter balls for the very first time. I think this is what actually, like, it sealed the deal. I think after I made these, he decided he was going to put a ring on it. Because I think the next few weeks he was taking me to measure my ring size at the local sales in the mall. He's like, here, we need to go check your ring size. So I knew something was coming. But I always went with the cheaper one, and you can buy the chocolate bars, the blocks, the big, at Christmas. And I would get the one that wasn't like you could pop out each square. It's a big old block. It's all together. And I had him over there cutting it while I was working on the peanut butter balls. And he was shaving it off.
Yeah,
he said, I said, well, we could have got the ones that you pop out, but they're more expensive. He's like, I'll pay it.
Yeah.
I'll pay it. I don't care. I'll pay it.
Get another job.
So, it's a good example of knowing where you're willing to spend money and where you're not. Just a cute story from us. But name brands are a thing. And there are people who are purist.
Yeah. And think of it from this perspective. Sometimes a name brand might be better in one thing than it is another. You do have off brands that sometimes are better, or new things that come out that are not, the biggest of names yet for things. So always shop around, read reviews, do your research, and don't always trust some blogs that do reviews. A lot of times they are just trying to get you to, click these links and make some Amazon buys for their Amazon affiliate things. So actually try to find, some reputable review things, out there, and don't look just at one, do comparisons.
And if it is a name brand, don't just shop one site.
Yep.
Shop multiple sites.
Yes.
And I would also say, again, this is one of those things where if you're going to buy, we're going to use a tool. If you're going to buy a tool, it needs to be used in multiple ways. And unless you're going to use this every single day or every week on whatever project you're working on. The majority of us aren't doing that every day like that. We're not. Mm-mm. We're not. Unless this is your day-to-day, your life, you're probably not going to use this specific tool every single day. Now, if you are laying tile floor, a tile saw, water saw is probably a really good investment in you. If you're doing this as a business, as a side hustle, completely.
If you're just doing it for yourself,
one time,
the couple of times that you
lay
it out in 30 years,
go rent it. It's not worth it at that point.
Yeah.
There have been things we have made this mistake on ourselves. Absolutely.
We're not trying to think. What's a good example?
I would say the drill press you got.
Yeah, that's a good example. So one of the other hobbies I was wanting to get into was making pipes. Like, tobacco pipes. So, I needed a drill press. And the drill press is still in the box.
We'll use it for something.
We will use it.
We'll be getting it out here.
Maybe we will be doing some pipes before long.
Yep. No, I won't. I will not. I have too much other stuff to work on. But it's just an example of something. Now, for us, one of the things we are looking at are, is it Milwaukee's or Shears and their little baby chainsaws.
Yes.
Those are things we are looking at for us that we would use throughout the property. We can't decide which one would be better, the pruning shears.
We probably need both, in all honesty, but we're looking at it from a perspective of a time perspective because of how quickly we will be able to speed up some of our processes. But so far, they're in 2 different battery sizes.
Yep.
Which means 2 different sets of batteries.
So it's not practical at this point for us.
Yeah. I mean, the pruning shears will probably come first. Did find DeWalt recently came out with one. And I know Toolman Tim, for example, talks about the DeWalt batteries and knockoffs all the time being pretty good. We might be able to get that, pretty cheaply and, not have to spend so much for a Milwaukee.
Yeah, the chainsaws that we have are too much for me to handle. The littler chainsaw, if I needed to have something that's smaller and I needed to cut it up, I could handle that. I could control it. It would be that I can't carry it, can't hold it. It's just I would have much more control. It would be a safer environment for me.
You with a chainsaw, that's sort of a scary concept in my mind, but okay.
I won't come after you, I promise. Just be nice. So it's just one of those things you have to really think about. Making sure, don't just rely on the one name brand that you're used to. There might be something out there even better. Ryobi, is it Ryobi? Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. That's the brand that's coming out with the wood splitter.
Yeah.
I know it's one of the lower end brands out there. Or in the medium range. Yeah. We're perfectly fine with that. We've had a few of their things that...
Yeah, I wish... I feel like we've got one thing in every brand that we want.
Except for Porter cable. That we have all the tools that you could...
Yeah, which is on the very low end. But I wish sometimes, that some of the companies would make the same things.
It would be nice, and it's coming, but it's it doesn't come at a time that you need it to happen. Right. We get that. We're living it now. We need a wood splitter, and we would prefer electric, because we prefer electric over any, gas all day long.
Yeah, and you might be like, well, you need a gas as well, well... We don't have to go out and get gas. We can just charge the batteries off the solar panels.
This is one of the reasons we do not like gas. We just do not. It is not as sustainable for us.
I know the batteries are not either from that perspective. Your batteries are gonna not last as long. But for us, from a trip out to get gas to back to get gas to, if something goes wrong with my ability to fix small engine repair is worse than being able to fix something electronic wise.
We know that from experience. We've actually talked about Aaron taking a small engine repair course at some point, because we are very bad with anything that runs gas, and just it is what it is.
Exactly.
I mean, we know that. We know we do really well with electric, and we have found that the areas where we have not had a lot of gas on our property over the past few years, those areas are thriving, are doing amazing because we've maintained them with electric or hand-powered tools with no gas. Those areas are doing so much better than they did before.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what do you think is your biggest takeaway from this?
I thought we had another one.
No.
You get rid of my thing?
That was your thing.
That was my thing?
That was your thing.
I thought, I was thinking I had another one on the list. So, as I see, I'm bringing up my list here on her phone. Okay. So also, is it saving money over buying something cheaper? You got to think of it from that perspective as well, because, sometimes you want to save that money now, but is it really worth it to save that money now over saving up for a couple more months and buying something of better quality?
That's true. That's very true. So that's another really good point, because there are certain things that you can just tell are going to fall apart. We live in an age where everything comes from other places.
Not from the U.S.
Not from the U.S.
Not anymore.
Like you know your grandma's furniture that was built the 60s and 70s.
You know that's holding up still.
That's still holding up. We have an old ottoman that held up, forever. We're all furniture
that are 40 years old.
40 years old.
Or almost 40.
And it held up better than the furniture that came after.
Yep.
So the older stuff was made with real wood. Real stuff made by people who had to be good at their crafts, knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Today everything is automated, and that's good and it's wonderful, but you lose some craftsmanship, especially now in the age where we got to make more, make it cheaper,
exactly,
thinner plastic. I don't know about y'all, but like, how many people do you see with cell phones that are busted and cracked? Like, you don't see that. You did not see that when we were growing up. Like, you had little flip phones.
Flip phones that you could throw on the ground 10 times and still work.
And it wouldn't break. It wouldn't do nothing. You don't have that anymore. Mm-hmm. Everything is made to be disposable. And they do that on purpose.
More money.
You spend more money. You have to replace it. Ziploc bags. I was watching a YouTube channel and she went through like 10 on one thing because they kept falling apart. Things are not made to last. They are made to be destroyed.
It's a consumer economy that they want you to buy.
You know, we're going to replace. But then they're pushing this. You need less. You need minimalism. You need this. And it's, if you feel like
something's got to give between the two.
We have conflicts in our lives. This is one of the reasons why when we make investments, like I'll invest in glassware for our food. Glass can break. I won't lie, it will break, but I think it's held up pretty well so far.
Holds up better than plastic containers, and
I
more
would prefer
healthy.
To eat it out of the glass, and I don't have to take it out of the glass, put it on a plate, put it on a bowl. It's just already there, ready for us to go. It's worked out so well for us, and that's something I'll continue to do is invest in ourselves, because it's important to me.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
I would just say, the biggest thing is try to avoid single-use items. I think it's really one of the biggest things, especially for like your small stuff. And I have single-use items. I have a corn cutter, 2 corn cutters, but I mean, I understand. Like, you think you need it, and sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't. And we make these purchases trying to make our life easier.
Right.
And sometimes it just makes better sense just to take the knife and cut it off.
It does. I mean, sometimes you do have to weigh the cost of, from a time perspective to a single-use item. You know, is this single-use item going to save me 5 hours a year? Or is it going to save me 30 minutes a year? Or
50 hours.
Yep.
So a great example is our vacuum mop. I got 2 items that do 2 things at once. One item. So it vacuums the floor and it mops the floor. And I tell you, it's one of the best investments because it has saved me time. I don't have to sweep before now. It does all of it for me. I just have to maintain the water level, dump out the dirty water, and go back to it. Versus me spending 2 hours, it now takes me under an hour to go through the entire floor. It's kind of a good example. What about you?
Always look at the reviews. Don't just assume that a name brand means good anymore, because a lot of times anymore things are made in the same factory and just put different labels on them.
That's becoming so common for everything from the food we eat to the things we buy, the clothes we wear. It's all the same, and they're trying to tell you it's different, and you'll pay $50 for one or $2 for the other.
Yep. Okay. Any questions, comments, anything you want to, have us go over in a future episode, send that over to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. make sure to go over and check out our link tree, which has all of our other content on all the other social media we're on. And
as always, thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.